Morning. Hi, Mom. Say hi, Grandma. We're asleep, so we can't really say hi, Grandma, but we are here. We are here. How's everyone doing? Is everyone good this morning? Good morning, Ray. How are you? How are you feeling? I hope you're well. Been thinking about you and hoping that you're well. Is Secret Husband a Star Wars fan? A little bit. Not too much, but my sister, who is Secret Baby's fairy godmother, is a huge Star Wars fan, and she has decided she's printing out her Star Wars photo and putting it on the wall of her home because, yes, she's here. She's here with us today. I know. Yeah, you want to tell them all about it? Do you want to tell them how last night went? Do you want to tell them everything? Do you want to tell them how many times you ate last night? You saw the pics? Yeah. They're so cute, right? We ate all night. Oh, don't even worry, Roxy. Don't even stress at all. I would never be upset about something like that. All right. Today we are out of regular milk because I did not have a chance, neither Secret Husband nor I had a chance to go to the store yesterday, so today we're making an altered version of the coffee until the milk is back in our possession later today. But it is what it is, and alright, it is what it is. We were up all night. Yes, she's good. She's fine. Mommy is so tired. She ate non-stop all night last night. There were many feeds and very little sleep for Mommy. Yes. And I had my first case of spilling breast milk last night out of a bottle that we had made for her for Secret Husband to feed her. He's such a good dad. And he was like, you look really tired, let me give her one of the bottles. And I was like, okay. And then I put the bottle together incorrectly. I did it, not him. I put it together incorrectly, and the milk spilled all over, and it was completely emptied, and it was the only bottle I had prepped for her last night because I only just am able to produce just slightly above what she eats, so we only get one bottle a day. So I had to go back to feeding her. It was 100% my own fault, not his, not hers, me. I take the blame, but I did cry. They say not to cry over spilt milk, but when you've made the milk yourself, it's hard not to cry. Right? Mommy cried a little bit. Daddy was a good daddy. He was so nice to us. But we did cry. Both of us. Both me and her. We both cried. Yes. That's what happened. That's what happened, huh? That was... What time was that? 1 in the morning? Midnight? Who knows? Who knows what time it was? We don't know. But I fed her the regular way, and we moved on with our life. And eventually she went to sleep, and eventually I went to sleep. Hey, Isabella. And then we woke up and we did more. Yeah, that's what happened, huh? That's what happened. Morning, Anya. So, yes, we'll try to rest today. Literally had meltdowns whenever that happened. I won't blame you, right? I didn't think I'd be so upset. You're having a tough day. I'm sorry, Isabella. I know you were sad when he passed. When you said you both cried, I thought you and Secret Husband. I know, right? Can you imagine? He was trying to soothe me in the situation, because she was obviously gonna cry until she was done crying regardless, because I was feeding her. I breastfed her regardless of the fact that I was crying. So I was sitting there breastfeeding her and crying, and he was like, I need to calm my wife down because the baby's at least getting her food. And he was telling me that I was a good mom and it's okay that I spilled her milk. And then I didn't mean it, He he's a good dad. He's a very good dad. But we did cry, didn't we? Yeah, we did. We cried. We cried. We cried a little bit, we cried a lot. Yeah. We're doing our best, right, Liv? We're all just doing our best. That we might as well finish this, right? At this point, we gotta get a new one today anyway, so let's just finish this up. I felt bad because the milk like spilled on her. Luckily, it wasn't like hot or cold. It was just like the correct warm, like lukewarm temperature. You know what I mean? Do it. Put that Star Wars thing on your fridge. So, like, I was feeling bad because it got her onesie wet and we had to change her onesie. And Secret Husband was like, it's literally the perfect lukewarm temperature. She's fine. She got a safe liquid on her skin that is your breast milk that she's allowed to feel. Don't freak out, you know. Yeah, no one was hurt. It wasn't hot. It wasn't cold. It was just a nice lukewarm. And babies are allowed to bathe in breast milk, so it's okay. It's okay. I know. It was all crazy, right? It's great. Yeah, it's actually really good for the milk to be on their skin, especially when they've got little baby acnes and stuff. So it's actually fine. It's fine. But you know how it is to be a postpartum mom. Everywhere. Oh, yeah. Seriously, Amanda. Yeah, any kind of rashes or skin thing, it's good for them. Look at this little foot way over here. She's always stretching out her little feetsies. I know. Are you happy? You're smiling. Hi. Hi. Are you a happy, sleepy girl? We ate right before this, so we should be a happy, sleepy girl. We had a diaper change, and we had a breakfast. First breakfast is done, right? Yeah. Yeah. It's good, huh? It's good. Yeah, I mean, I know she is so tiny. She has grown a lot, Sloth. You're absolutely right. She has already grown more than half an inch and more than a pound. So she's grown a lot. A lot. I'm going to put you guys down for 2 shakes of a second so that I can put down my coffee. And then, or maybe, yeah, no, I do need to. 1 second. Okay. And then I will put you in the tripod. There we go. All right, look at that. Mommy did it. It was awkward, but we did it. Bye, Liz. See you later. Hey, there we go. That was nice. Okay, let's get our book. Let's get Mommy some coffee because she needs it. Mommy needs coffee. Yes, she does. Mommy was up all night. Yeah. Mm-hmm. How did that happen? What do you think? How did that happen? How do you think Mommy was up all night? The thing is, you guys, there's a reason that people need maternity leave. It's not just to have frolicking fun time off. Like, I think there's a misconception around maternity leave by people who don't have children, like, you know, like people who don't have children and like men who are boomers who like didn't participate, you know what I mean? We all know those guys, right? My husband is not that guy. Most millennial guys are not that guy, but there are a lot of like older men who were like, it's women's work, you take care of the baby, I'll go back to work, you know, whatever like that. So they never got to be in the trenches with it and didn't feel it. Like, the reason we need maternity leave is not for fun and sunshine and rainbows. It's because we didn't sleep last night. So how would I get up and do all my work and feed her around the clock and all this stuff? Like, she eats every 40 minutes at least right now this week because she's growing so much. She just wants to eat all the time. When would I have time to make slime in the middle of that? I mean, like, it's crazy. Like, we're working at a thing where I'm getting bottles made ahead so the secret husband can give her a bottle when I do slimes and stuff like that when I go back. But, like, she needs to grow first, you know? Yeah, enjoy your time off. Yeah, like it's time off. Yeah, all we do is sleep and eat and poop. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Both your kids, your thyroid tank. Oh my gosh, that's not good. Okay, we're rocking, we're rocking, we're rocking. We're rocking, we're rocking. Yes, we are. We're rocking. We're rocking. We are rocking. We are rocking. We are rocking. It feels so good. We're gonna read in a second. I know, it's fun, right, Roxy? We're gonna read as soon as Mommy has a little more coffee in her system. How are all of you? What's the weather like for all of you while I'm drinking up this coffee? Yeah, you want to hear about their weather? I do. I always want to know who has snow. You've never seen snow. You were born in Los Angeles. You're a California girl, just like Mommy, yeah. Sunny but cold, yeah. It's actually cloudy and rainy here today, which is totally -4. Amanda, get out. That's not okay. Drink all the coffee. We had delayed opening for ice cream. Ice cream? Ice cream? What? Not ice cream. Okay, did you hear my confusion? I read it and I was like, what do you mean a delayed opening for ice cream? I want a delayed opening for ice cream. Snow and freezing rain, roads are slippery and businesses were canceled. Yeah, everyone's been dealing with it, right? That's without wind chill? No thanks, just ice. Ice cream is a better delay in my opinion. I feel like that's a kid's book waiting to happen where like the roads are covered in ice cream so everything's delayed. That's funny. Okay. -10? -10? No, thank you. No, thank you. Okay, we're just gonna reorganize our bottoms, right? Yeah, I'll take an ice cream delay. Yeah. No, I'm with Sloth. I'm a big fan of an ice cream delay. Anybody else want a delay for ice cream? Raise your hand if you're interested. Do we have a hand? Wave, say hi. Say hi. Boop, boop, boop. Can I eat your hand? She thinks I am ridiculous. Going to have to give the kids ice cream next delay so it can be a thing. I think so. I don't see why not. I think if they're going to be delayed for snow anyway, why not have ice cream? A post-infected. Oh my gosh, that's terrible, Roxy. Oh my God. She does have her dad's hands. She has very long fingers. So before we even had her, like before she was born, very early on in our discussion of whether or not we would have children and all that, and of course we decided yes because we have her, I told Secret Husband, I don't care what she decides to do like long term as far as her after school activities, her extracurriculars, her interests. I am fine with her eventually choosing her own and I will support her in whatever choice she makes. That being said, I am very firm on a couple of things, and one of the things I'm very firm on is that in the beginning she does have to take piano. She doesn't have to always take piano. If she decides down the line she wants to do a different instrument, that's fine, but she does need to start with piano. And this was before I even saw her hands, and I was just because it's really good for your brain. We come from a musical family. Secret Husband plays an instrument, I sing, I can play the piano a little bit, like all these things, right? You know, and so I was like, I need her to take piano lessons even just for a little bit so she learns to read music. It's good for your brain, yada yada. And then she came out with these fingers and I was like, she's gonna take piano forever. Look at these hands. Now, I'm not that parent. I'm not gonna force her to, but I really hope she loves piano because look at these hands. Look at these hands. She's gonna be a master pianist if she has these fingers, right? So, yeah. I hope that she will. She already reacts to music pretty distinctly, and both of her cousins, Zoe and Ethan, I mean, she has plenty more cousins than that. Both of the cousins on my side have extreme musical ability for their age, and so I'm hoping she gets that. Also, that being said, their grandfather, my sister's dad, is not my father, and my sister's dad was a master pianist. He was so good, you guys. And so I think Zoe and Ethan got their musical ability from him. He was so good.
He passed away before Ethan was born, but he was just like a natural talent at the piano. He played everything by ear, and he was just, I mean, a master, a true master at the piano. And so Zoe and Ethan gravitate towards music things probably because of that genetically. She also is very musical, but that's not her grandfather genetically, and obviously she never met him. So I don't know where she got hers, maybe just from me, I don't know. I mean, also my husband plays guitar, but Secret Husband does music time with her every day. He sits and he plays different songs for her and sings to her, and like introduces her to different music every day, which is great. She loves Rilo Kiley. She's a big fan. Yeah. We're slowly going through Taylor Swift's catalog. We've only gotten through half of the debut album so far, but we're working on it, right? And yeah. So we played a lot of music for her when she was in utero. Like every night we would play. We have a playlist for her that we would play. We also have a playlist of songs with her name in them and stuff like that. So when we were at the photo shoot the other day, it was so funny because I told them, and when you say this, people think you're crazy, right? Okay, like when I say Jasmine is her favorite princess, people are like, Sasha, she's 2.5 weeks old. She doesn't have a favorite princess. And I'm like, she does, and I can prove it. And they're like, you're a crazy first-time Disney mom. And I'm like, listen, if this child is crying and you put on A Whole New World, when Lea Salonga starts singing Jasmine's part, she will calm down, which means Jasmine is her favorite princess. And they're like, sure, Jan. And I'm like, no, watch. And at the beginning of the photo shoot, she was fussy and she was like, and she didn't want to do anything. And they put on A Whole New World and she calmed down. And I was like, I told you, Jasmine is her favorite princess. Don't fight me on this. This child has opinions about princesses, and Jasmine is the way she has decided to go. Right? Right? She's asleep, so she can't answer me. But it is true. The other thing she really loves is, the photographer who did our photo shoot has a partner who's a hilarious baby whisperer guy. He's phenomenal, right? And he does all the like positioning and the swaddling and like all that stuff. I know, I agree, Amanda. And so when my husband sings A Whole New World to our baby, he does the dramatic dad thing. When Aladdin says stuff, he goes, don't you dare close your eyes. You know how, I mean, I think every dad does that, right? Like they just like over dramatically like perform Aladdin's part when they're singing to their child, right? And the photographer's partner did the same thing to her, and she reacted the same way she reacts to her dad doing it. So I think she just likes dramatic overacting, because she thought it was hilarious no matter who does it. If you say, don't you dare close your eyes, and she's awake, she will laugh. She thinks it's so funny. Right? You think it's so funny? She's asleep right now. But anyway, I will read because, you know, that's what we're here for. But those are my stories for the day. She's definitely a theater girly. Secret Husband said last night, when she was being very dramatic over who knows what, because she's an infant, he was like, you know, I'm really excited to see her first school play. I was like, yeah. Are you going to be in the school play? Probably. We won't make you, but it'll be fun to see it. Yeah, it would be fun to see it, huh? Yeah. 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 There was a Broadway play that's playing when you were born. Does that count for anything? Yeah, it does. Okay. All right, let's read. We are on chapter 22 today. Going to bail out because I'm so behind. If anyone remembers the chapters today ends with, we'll probably do chapter 22 and 23 today, at least 22. But I will definitely post it for you, Ray. But all of the other chapters are up, so if you need to like listen to them in the car or whatever while you're doing your errands and yada yada today, they're all up except for today's. Everything is up and ready. So we ended with 21 yesterday, if that helps. I don't know how much we'll get through today, but you know, there we go. Okay, let's read chapter 22. Here we go. One for sorrow. We're just about to start it now. You want to go by? Baby loud. All right, here we go. Chapter 22. 1 for sorrow, 2 for mirth, 3 for a funeral, and 4 for birth. 5 for life, 6 for death, 7 to find a merry wife. A spell for healing, requiring widow bark and silkweed. Beatrice Belladonna is mildly surprised to discover that she is not dead. She slumped sideways with a ring of white wax, and someone's arm held fast around her, and someone's voice in her ear. "Oh, thanks saints," it breathes, and Bella realizes who the arm and the voice belong to. "Thank you, Cassidy." She considers faintly again, simply to luxuriate in the feeling. She considers fainting again. She considers fainting again, simply to luxuriate in the feeling of Quinn's body against hers. "Bella, I think it wants your attention." With a small private sigh, Bella does open her eyes, and there's an owl standing on the bare earth before her, except no natural owl has ever had feathers so black that they seem to swallow light, refusing to even reflect the dapper silver of the moonlight. No owl has ever possessed the eyes the color of coal, a deep, solemn red, and behind those eyes Bella sensed an echo of a vast thing that paused to consider her, as if the owl is a cinder split from a much greater fire. "Witchcraft itself is wearing an animal skin," Mags used to say. "Hello," Bella says shyly. How should one greet a familiar anyway? What does one say to magic fashioned into a shape that suits you? Her familiar does not answer her. Regarding her with a red gaze, it lifts one foot, and Bella notices for the first time the thing that's clutched in its obsidian claws. It's a jagged and charred stone. It uncurls its talons. The stone rolls towards Bella. Behind her, Quinn makes a small and weary sound, like a woman who has seen quite enough strange and uncanny things for one evening and hopes that they will soon desist. Bella takes the stone. The owl watches her. "Thank you," Bella offers. She doesn't know if normal owls possess the ability to blink at one another in a manner both disappointing and long-suffering, but this one apparently does possess that skill. It loses patience with her, and it launches itself abruptly skyward. Bella shrugs upright. "Wait, can you come back? I'm sorry." But it doesn't leave. It merely sweeps in a low circle above them, wings angled. 3 times it circles, and Bella thinks of the sign of the 3 and the resonance of form and repetition drawn in circles in folklore. And before it cuts back towards Bella with talons outstretched, she braces for the blow, but the claws just rest lightly on her shoulder. The owl weighs no more than the idea of an owl, the suggestion of bones and feather. It recalls low and plaintive. Bella digs the point of her stone into the dark earth and drags it into a wide circle. She's whispering words once more. "Weave a circle round the throne." The circle begins to emit a soft, pearled light like foxfire. Quinn makes her a weary sound. Bella takes her hand and draws it earthward, and she presses her palm against the night-cool earth, one beside another, and old Salem vanishes. They leave nothing behind them but pooled wax, burned earth, and the faint, sweet smell of roses. Agnes is not dead, and neither is her daughter. She kneels in the place that was St. George's Square, but now the street lamps glimmer weakly through a forest of twisted trees, impossibly far away. Stars wheel in wild patterns above her, nearer and brighter than Agnes has ever seen them in New Salem. The sky is broken by immense blackness, and a stone towers overgrown with ivy and climbing roses. Its door is marked with 3 winding circles. "Thank you, Angela. Yeah, she's here. She's here." Agnes is looking up at the tower, touching her belly and thinking dreamily, "Happy birthday, baby girl," when 2 women appear in the place that was once St. George's Square. If Agnes had not recently seen an entire tower appear from thin air, sliding into reality like a fish reeling from sea to air, she might have found this quite shocking. "Bella!" She's standing beside Cleopatra Quinn at the tower door. Their palms are pressed into woven circles. How did you... Is that an owl?" A tall shadow perches on her older sister's shoulder, regarding Agnes with hot and embered eyes. Yes, I do think so, Bella burbles. Her own eyes are feverish and overbright, spinning in a manner that causes Agnes some concern. Strix varia, I don't know how to say that. Ahem. Strix varia, I suspect, though, with the coloring, it's difficult to be sure. Ovid thought them vampires and little omens, but this silly little man, just look how handsome he is. Oh, sorry, that was supposed to be Bella. Wrong voice, but you get it. Bella pauses in this delirium to draw a finger down her owl's breast. A thought seems to strike her. She wheels, looking up at the vastness of the tower, and then back to Quinn, and then to Agnes. Do you feel anything? Any particular power awakening, perhaps? A small and uncertain silence falls as the three of them waits for something mysterious, some ancient magic to flood their veins, filling them with the lost majesty of their foremothers. I don't think so, Agnes says. No, Cleo says. Well, neither do I. Perhaps there's some ritual or key inside, like a series of clues that reveal a secret chamber, like one of Miss Doyle's mysteries. Or perhaps, if we read the inscription aloud, Bella bends closer to the door, where the words are written in foreign-looking script. Maleficae quandam maleficae futuri? But nothing happens. Before Bella can try anything else, a fourth woman appears at the tower door, and her shift hangs in ashen streaks and tatters, clinging to the damp flesh, revealing dark blooms of bruises. Her head is bowed, her face is hidden by a black tangle of hair, her breath is very wet-rattled. The woman straightens, and as she turns, Agnes sees the red ruin of her throat, a bloody mess of pink and dead white that she can't look at for very long. Hi, sweetheart. Oh, thank you, Ava. Thank you very much. What's the matter? What's the matter? Juniper is beaming at them. Her lips are cracked, her teeth are bloody, her eyes are a deep green gray, like the shadow of summer leaves, softer and sweeter than Agnes has ever seen them, until they land on the creature perched on Bella's shoulder. Oh, horse shit. Juniper's voice is somehow both wet and scorched. What are you doing, silly girl? What are you doing? There you go. Be comfy. Be comfy. Yeah. It's terrible to hear. How come you got one before I did? And then, with a strangled, boneless grace, Juniper collapses. Bella is not dead, but she thinks her sister might be. Agnes reaches her first. June, baby, help me. Damn you, get her inside. And then Bella takes a long moment to realize that Agnes is addressing her, and another to crouch down beside her sister's broken doll body. She hesitates to touch her. She's an open wound, a collection of bruises and burns and abuses, but between them, Bella and Agnes haul her awkwardly upright. Quinn pulls hard on the iron ring of the tower door, and it opens easily, as if some tidy caretaker has kept its hinges oiled all these centuries. Bella and Agnes lay their sister on the cool flagstone floor, with her hair haloed all around her, and her throat gaping like a second mouth. Bella looks a little wildly into the shadows, hoping for a glowing chalice, or an ivory wand, or perhaps a magical potion labeled "Drink Me." But there is nothing. Only the soft darkness cut with the silver shafts of moonlight, and a faint, dry smell that makes Bella's heart lift inexplicably in her chest. Agnes's voice is hesitant. She's swallowed by the vast dark above them. Someone will see soon, and then they'll come for us. But what are we going to do? But Bella isn't listening. She's breathing in that smell, the dust and the parchment, the leather and the cotton, the ink made from oil and oak gall and soot. With a wild suspicion swelling in her chest, she fumbles a matchbook from her skirt and drags the tip across the flagstones. The light flares, reflected in a deep amber of Quinn's eyes, illuminating 2 small circles of flagstones, and at the very edge of the circle, Bella can make out the faint outline of shelves lining the tower walls, the glass shine of jars, long benches, scarred tables scattered with leaves and bones and nameless things, as if some untidy woman has been brewing witch ways just maybe hours before. and Bella stands, lifting the match higher in trembling fingers, wishing for a lamp or a torch or even a candle. And from her shoulders the owl ruffles its feathers, it stretches forward. Bella doesn't know if a true owl could indeed extend its neck to such an uncanny length, or if the rules are different for familiars. Hi, Sophia! She plucks the guttering match from her fingers and makes a neat toss and catch motion, and it makes a neat toss and catch motion with its head and swallows the match whole, flame and all. Oh, no, don't! Bella makes a helpless gesture, far too late. Golden light is blooming, and the shadowed center of the owl is like a candle seen through smoked glass. It glows brighter, spreading until the owl shines in the deep gold of a well-tended fire. Only the very tips of its claws and wings are still edged in black. It spreads its wings and takes luminous flight. 3 faces turn upward to watch as it spirals upward through the tower. In its shining wake, they see an endless staircase that circles and twines along the walls, so aimless and haphazard that it looks, well, rather grown rather than built, landing in ladders and sprouts from stairs like branches, lustrous and worn, smooth with use. The doors nestle in the shadows, although Bella can't imagine opening them to anything but air. And nestled between them, in leaning stacks and on tidy shelves and calfskins and leather and cracked leather, are their pages gold-lined by the owl's light. And there are books, more books than Bella has ever seen in a lifetime devoted to books. Her owl fades back to pooled ink as the match burns out. It roots somewhere high above them, invisible for the red gleam of its gaze. We're reading, Sophia, we're reading a book. Bella closes her eyes, and there's an odd bubbling in her chest, and it takes a moment to identify. It's giddy laughter. The lost way of Avalon isn't a miracle or a magical relic or a fanciful artifact. It's merely just the truth. Written, bound, preserved against time and malice. It's a library, Quinn breathes. A library? Agnes is the only one of them still crouched beside Juniper. Her fingers are bunched in the damp white of her shift. What the hell are we supposed to do with a library? Bella's drifting towards the nearest shelf, squinting at the moonlit label written in antique calligraphy. Jinxes, mortal. Perilous and pure, amusing. The next label reads, weather working, storms, floods, locust plagues, and directly above that it says changelings, made from clay, stone, and dealing with fey folk. The one beneath that is medicinal for burns, bites, and bruises. Quinn reads them all over her shoulder. Even in the dimness, Bella can see the keen shine of her eyes and the hunger of her half-smile as she looks at these books. She's a woman who understands the value of words, especially the ones they don't want you to say. Bella reaches for a volume bound in cherry wood with brass hinges along the spine. The title is burned into the cover in square capitals. It says, The Book of Majory, M.E.M., being a translation of her curative receipts. Bella steps into the silver of the moonlight as she opens it and sees the lost words and forgotten ways preserved in 1,000 tidy lines of ink. Witchcraft pure as dragon's blood and bright as stardust, unspoken for centuries. With this, Agnes, we could more or less do anything that we please. Speak with wolves, or bring stones to life, or turn Mayor Worthington into a weevil. She turns back to Agnes, still crouched over Juniper's still body, white with worry. But we'll begin with saving our sister. Juniper doesn't much miss her body. It's broken and burnt of a thing, so full of pain that there's hardly any room left for her to exist in it. She drifts above instead, watching with detached affection while her sisters fret over the red mess of her neck, peel the cotton shift from her bruised flesh, that Quinn woman standing above them with dried herbs in one hand and a book in the other. She's reading aloud. Her words tug at Juniper. She tries to ignore them, but they reel downward, closer and closer to the shipwreck of her body, and then her sisters take up the words in tear-streaked voices. 1 for sorrow, 2 for mirth, 3 for a funeral, and 4 for birth. Bella lays a sprig of green across Juniper's throat, still speaking the spell, knocking her knuckles on the stones there. The words are a trap. They pin her inside her own body alongside every bruise and burn. Her screams are hoarse, thin things. The pain eases with the knock of her sister's knuckles around each, one for sorrow, two for mirth. A blissful coolness follows behind it like creek water on a hot day. And Juniper lies still, listening to the even beat of her blood and the tiny invisible motions of skin re-knitting and blisters shrinking. Her sisters are talking above her. Their voices are falling from some great height down to her ears. And they'll be here soon. That's all Agnes says with tense fear. Who? Bella sounds unprofoundly like Bella, giddy and pleased, thoroughly unworried, and Juniper wonders if maybe her sister is drunk. Everyone, the police, the mobs with pitchforks, Hill and his friends, we have to go. There's something very important that Juniper needs to tell them about Hill, about witchcraft, about stolen shadows and watching eyes, but the thought sinks into the blessed coolness and vanishes. Bella sobers. Well, I'm not leaving this library for those depraved people to discover. Library? Juniper hears. Agnes makes a wordless growl, but Quinn says calmly, well, hide it then. If you can bind hats to cloaks and hide them away, why can't you hide a tower? There's a small silence while the words ashes to ashes and dust to dust rattle loosely through Juniper's skull. And then Bella says, oh, well, that's brilliant, Cleo. With such admiration in her voice that it's almost indelicate. But one of us will need to leave to work the binding and find a safe place to hide it, and to draw a sign to give us a way back out. Well, I'll do it, Agnes offers quietly, and Bella's voice cools for some reason. Oh, of course. I'd forgotten you were already leaving. Juniper finds the voices above her blurring together after this, devolving into a jumble of plans and murmurs and hurry-nows. She would be content to lie there, basking in the absence of pain, except, wait! Her voice is still kind of wrong, thin and coarse. Thank you for saving me. There's a shush of skirts, and Agnes's face appears above her. You hush, baby. Her voice is warm and low and bossy as hell, just like when they were girls. I didn't think you'd come now, not now that you learned about Daddy. It's true then? Agnes sounds neither surprised nor especially upset. She just sounds tired. Juniper swallows and gasps with the pain of it. Yeah, it's true. Oh, June. Bella kneels on her other side, her face long and sharp beside Agnes's. Why? Why did you do it after all these years? Yeah, well, he got sick. He was always getting sick after the fire. Weak lungs, the doctor said. This time it was worse. He spent weeks laid up in bed, coughing up blood and slime. Juniper remembers him sleeping on the floor next to his bed so that she could tend to him in the night, listening to the wet rattle of his breath. The doctor said there was nothing he could do. He had a lawyer come and draw up his will, and Daddy gave a brown bottle for pain. Whatever it was made from, it made him strange and feeble, not himself. He looked at her sometime with eyes all wet and shining and called her by her mother's name. And once, when she was setting his dinner tray on his lap, he touched her wrist in a way that made her stomach twist sickly. That night, she slept outside instead, letting the cold wind scour her clean. Her sisters' faces are grave and silent above her, and Juniper closes her eyes. Yet one day near the end, he started carrying on about sin and regret and how he was sorry I wasn't born a son. He said, at least Dan could do right by the farm, and that's when he knew, and I knew, that he would take it from me, all of it. And even now, the ghost of that rage is enough to choke Juniper. That land belonged to her, by birthright and by blood. So Bella begins softly, so that's why? No, Juniper swallows again, and she feels the pucker of a rip on the wound around her neck. I wanted to, but I didn't do it then. Till he started apologizing for, other things. The cellar, the two of you leaving, our mother. Her voice wobbles on the last word, and Juniper doesn't know why. She's never even met the woman, never knew anything but a curl of her hair in Mama Mags's locket. The reason her sisters wore black on her birthday, he said that he, and Juniper had understood then that her daddy, her flesh and blood, her enemy, the only thing left of her, was a murderer. And then, as the snake's teeth bit into her palm, she understood that she and her daddy had but one thing in common. A warm hand slides into hers, and Bella starts to speak, but Juniper cuts her off. Did you know? Did the two of you know? Above her, Juniper feels her sister look at one another and then away. No, not really, Bella says as Agnes says, yeah. There's a brief pause before Agnes amends. Well, when a pain started, Mama told me to go ring the bell, but Daddy caught my wrist, and Juniper hears the bitter guilt in her sister's voice. I don't know if he meant for it to happen, but he knew how hard her birth had been before. You should have told me, Juniper says, but she doesn't know if she means it. What would it have been like to grow up knowing that? Is this the reason her sisters were always a little less wild than she was, a little more frightened than she was? You should have told us, Bella answers a little waspishly. Before you were dragged off to prison. Yeah, I thought if you knew what I did and what I am, you might, she thinks, hate me, leave me, turn around and never come back. But surely you didn't think it would surprise us after everything that we saw. At Bella's words, Juniper feels unseen, something swimming up from the deep of where it lives inside her. She wants to look away from it, to send it back down to where it belongs, but she's tired, she's hurting, she's cracked, wide with confession, and it looms closer to her. Agnes is shaking her head. She doesn't remember, Belle. Juniper doesn't want to ask, but she does. She asks, what don't I remember? Agnes meets her eyes gray to gray. The day in the barn when Daddy found out what he did, he found out. Her eyes flicker to Bella, bitter cold, and then back to Juniper. We were trapped against the wall. He was coming closer, and then there you were, standing between us, scrawny and fierce, and you told him to leave us alone or else, well, he laughed at you. So, Agnes trails away, but Juniper then remembers. Juniper remembers the arch of her spine as she looked up at her father in that moment. Juniper remembers the snake teeth waiting, always waiting in her pocket, ever since Mama Mags folded her fingers around them and told her to keep them secret and safe, just in case. Juniper remembers something snapping inside her, her patience, her tolerance, her last straw. May sticks and stones break your bones and serpents stop your heart. She didn't have her cedar staff back then, but she had a tobacco stake from the barn floor, crusted with dirt and chicken shit, and then she had the words. And she had the will. Well, almost. At the very last second, she watched her daddy writhing on the barn floor, the snake the color of dust wrapped around his ankles, and her will had wavered, and maybe she didn't hate him quite enough then, maybe she didn't want to hate herself. Afterwards, she was alone, except for the wet crackle of her daddy's breathing. She sent the memory of the snake down into the deepest oceans of herself, where she couldn't see it because her sisters were gone, and she couldn't stand to know that it was her own fault. Juniper feels the tears trickle down her temples, borrowing her hair. Her daddy had been different after the fire, slower, more cautious, less likely to raise a hand at her in anger. She thought it was gratitude, maybe, for all the putrid hours she spent changing his bandages, spoon-feeding him. But he was kind to her for the same reason a man is kind to a mad dog, for fear of their teeth. It turns out he wasn't quite scared enough. That's why you never came back then, because they saw what she was, a monster, a murderer, a dragon red in tooth and claw, and only princesses were rescued from towers. That's why you never wrote to me? But Bella's voice cuts across hers. I did write, June. I did. I wrote once a week at first, and you never wrote back, and I thought you must want nothing to do with me. I thought maybe you had heard rumors. Juniper tries hard to focus her face, a hovering smear with sad eyes, and Agnes echoes her. The first thing I ever bought when I got to the city was a postcard, but you never answered, so after a while I just stopped trying. But, oh, Juniper wonders if her daddy paid the postman to lose those letters, or if he burned them himself. She wonders if she ever shuttled the ashes from the wood stove unknowingly, and if it was them, if her daddy watched her while she did it, knowing Their closeness had always bothered him, and when they were little, he was forever playing them against one another, favoring the youngest, blaming one of the sisters for the other's sins, finding the cracks between them and wedging them wider. But it never seemed to stick. The three of them remained a single thing, involatile. So he split them apart and spent 7 years tearing the last threads that bound them together. But Juniper looks at her gray-eyed sisters here with her now and knows that he has failed. Agnes, Belle, I do hate to interrupt, but it is nearly dawn and our time here is short. Quinn is standing in the doorway, pointing to a thin line of gray visible above the horizon. Juniper's sisters get to their feet, and Juniper wishes that they would come back. She wants to ask what happened to the other sisters, and how they called back the lost way, and if they think it's possible that Mama Mags's ghost visited her in the deeps. But the stones are so cool on her skin, and the air is so heavy on her eyes. She wakes once, briefly. When a hand touches her cheeks, Agnes says, "Goodbye, Juniper." And then once more stiffly she says, "Goodbye, Bella." "Well, you know where to find us if you change your mind," Bella says, and Juniper doesn't know if Agnes replies because she drifts away. There are still voices around her, murmuring and whispering, but they don't belong to her sisters. They belong to someone else's, and they rush around like the soft sighs of turning pages and the rustles of rose petals once against one another. And then the silence, a touch of strange stars. Agnes looks behind her once before she leaves the tower, and Bella stands with a pair of silver shears in one hand and an open book in the other, and that eerie owl perched like a gargoyle on her shoulder, looking like the crone herself, come back from the dead. Juniper lies pale and still on the flagstones, a maiden laid out for sacrifice. And the sigh of them tugs at Agnes. She wants to turn back and take her place between them, play the part of the middle sister, the mother. But she doesn't. She pushes through the doors, kneeling briefly beside the shadowed trees. She scoops a palmful of earth and leaf littered into glass and whispers words above it. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. She prays that these words are enough. The night is quiet except for the whisper touches of the leaves and the distant toll of the church bells ringing the solstice morning service. The branches of the trees drag against her skirt like friendly fingers half familiar. She remembers all the times she chased Juniper through the thickets of mountain laurels and holly back home. Agnes slips from the woods and takes 3 steps before she realizes she's not alone. There are birds roosting in every lamppost and every iron bench and crowding the sills and rooftops of the college and city hall, silent and falling feathers. Oh yeah, I think she's definitely going to have my curly hair. Yeah, for sure. I had I'll post, if you guys remind me later, I'll post a picture of me as a kid. I had the curliest curls. Oh, baby girl. Mommy had curly hair. Yeah, did mommy have curly hair? Yeah. Agnes goes very still. Oh wait, sorry, I missed a spot. And there's a woman standing several feet in front of her, right where the cobbles turn to dark, leaf-strewn earth. Her face is tilted up to look at the tower. Her skin is ivory and unsettling in the shine of the constellations that have doubled in number and abandoned their usual pattern, unnaturally bright despite the electric orange glow of the city. She isn't wearing her usual white sash or her starched skirt. Her Gibson girl hair has deflated somewhat, but Agnes knows that face. It's Miss Grace Wiggins of the Women's Christian Union and the famed crusader against suffrage, against witchcraft, alcohol, gambling, prostitution, immigration, miscegenation? I don't know this word. Miscegenation and unionizing. Agnes goes very still, feeling some wild creature caught in the lamplight. Wiggins' face turns toward her slowly, as if she has difficulty tearing her eyes from the tower. Tears glitter in them, and a 1/4 teaspoon of longing is there. "Did you do this?" Her voice is thin, lost-sounding, nothing like a shrill clarion, and Agnes remembers her from before. I know, sweet girl. What's the matter? You don't like Grace Wiggins? I know. It's okay. We're almost done, and then we'll eat breakfast, okay? Okay. Agnes inclines her head, feeling a surge of pride, and she thinks, I did do this. I did this with my sisters. They called it From the Bottomless Time, saying it straight into the middle, sober, sinless New Salem, and Grace Wiggins and her ladies-in-waiting seemed suddenly less worrisome, less humorous. Wiggins' eyes focus on her for a time, her lips curling. And did you not fear for the soul of your child? Oh, I know, sweet girl. Did you have no mother's natural instincts? Agnes considers slapping the woman. What about you, Miss Wiggin? Did you not fear for your reputation out all alone at night like this? Do you have no shame? I know, okay. Are we just waking up? Are we grumpy waking up on the wrong side of the bed? No, we're still sleepy. Big yawn. Big yawn. Okay. An odd, childish flash of guilt. You don't want me to read? Are you so mad about this chapter? We only have 2 more pages. Oh, sweetheart, don't cry. Oh, sweet baby. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Yeah, you're okay. You're all right. You're safe. You're okay. 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 Hi. Hi. Good morning. Yeah. It's okay. It's okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I know, she has the cutest little cry. Yeah. You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna take 2 seconds. Mommy figured out how to feed her inside this wrap, so I'm just gonna turn the camera away for a second, and then I'm gonna put her to feed, and then I'll be right back. 2 seconds. I'm still here. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, here you go. I know, you're frustrated. I know. Yeah. Here you go. Here you go. Yeah, here you go. You don't want it? Yeah. You're not hungry after all? You're just grumpy? You're not hungry, you're just grumps? Are we hungry or are we grumps? Are we hungry or are we grumps? Are we grumps or are we hungry? What is it? Which is it? Are we hungry or are we grumps? Yeah. Okay, that's better, huh? Yeah. Here you go. That's good, huh? Okay. Okay. See? All better. All better. Yeah, all better. Okay. Okay. An odd childish flash of guilt crosses the woman's face. Well, I was out for a walk. I happened to be looking up, and the stars shining and changing, and the birds gathering while I smelled the roses. Mags always said the solstices and the equinox were the times when magic burned the closest to the surface of things, and when any self-respecting hedge witch or wild-hearted woman ought to be outdoors in that time, with moonlight on her skin and night around her shoulders. What is a proper young woman doing out at the summer solstice watching the sky? Why do her eyes keep reeling back to the tower like moths to a flame? Agnes is struck by the sudden suspicion that Grace Wiggins doesn't hate witching at all. It's beautiful, isn't it? It's vile, it's wicked, but the words have hollow, learned by rote ring to them. Agnes waits, watching the tense roll of the muscles in Wiggins's face, wondering how long the woman will keep talking rather than screaming for help, and if it will be long enough for Bella to make the tower disappear. That longing look is back in Wiggins's eyes, stronger now. My mother used to make my dolls dance when I was a girl, and I begged her to teach the words to me, and she did. And more beside. I would like to learn them. It made me feel... She doesn't say how it made her feel, but Agnes knows how it made her feel, like her voice had power, like her will had weight. Yeah, what happened to her, eh? Bitterness seeps into Wiggins's face, aging it. She was caught killing the unborn. Agnes thinks of Mags and the narrow path back to her house. Madame Zena with her gauzy veil and her fake card readings. They made me go to the hanging of my own mother. I was a lost angel after that. An ungainly tenderness takes root in Agnes's chest. She rebels against it. Surely her circle needn't be large enough to include a woman like Grace Wiggins, for the love of God. But it's as if Wiggins's face has become a window, or maybe a mirror, and Agnes can see the frightened, hurting girl that she once was, with a heart full of hate and nowhere to send it. Listen, you don't have to keep going. What you do, you don't have to keep helping like a man, and you don't have to keep going for a guy like Gideon Hill just because he... The sound of his name shatters the fragile thing between them, and Wiggins's eyes are shards of flint. Her fingers clutch the shawl tighter around her shoulders. How dare you! Mr. Hill is the noblest and bravest. A fervent and unnatural rage chokes her words. Agnes is wondering now if Wiggins is going to attack her, clawing and hissing like a cat when the tower vanishes. The stars and the tangled wood and the dark earth, all of it fall out of the world like coins dropping into an invisible pocket. Nothing remains of the lost way of Avalon except for a mischievous wind and the feral scent of magic and roses in the air. Wiggins stares and staggers sideways, her mouth open in horror. She spins back to Agnes with her skin waxen and her yellow on her face with the first streaks of true dawn. You'll burn for this, she hisses. He'll make sure you burn for this. And then she screams, Help! Someone help! There are witches in New Salem. Well, now Agnes runs, pausing only to draw an X on the cobbles, and she whispers August's spell into the dawn. Her hair raises from her shoulders, and the baby's weight lifts from her hips, and she runs with the vial, knocking it against her thigh, and Wiggins's voice is ringing in her ear like a curse or maybe a prophecy. She runs west, keeping to the side streets and narrow alleys, dodging the lamps' lighters and the night soilmen, hiding and hinging in doorways. When she hears the ring of hooves on stones, and at the cemetery she pauses, chewing at her lip, before climbing the fence and winding her way back to the witch yard, where their golden tree stands still, grand and gleaming, and far too heavy to even move. Agnes buries the glass vial of earth among its roots. She scores a symbol into the soft metal of the tree's trunk, 3 circles, intertwined, and she whispers the words, and the sign begins to glow, very faintly, and her fingers hover above it, wanting to touch it, to be drawn back to the tower and the woods and a wild story. Oop. Oh no. Unable to verify your humanness. Oh no. It thinks I'm not a human. Okay, there we go. It worked that time. The sign begins to glow very faintly, and her fingers hover above it, wanting to touch it and to be drawn back to the tower and the woods and the wild stories her sisters are writing together. But Agnes is through with all that. She saved her sister, and now she must survive for her daughter. She walks home, weary and sore-footed, and at first she hides when she sees the officer riding past tall and gray, but soon she realizes that they hardly notice her, because she's nothing once again. Dun, dun, dun. Very interesting. Very interesting, huh? So, what we've learned today is that Grace Wiggin of the Women's Christian Union is the daughter of a witch. But which witch? It's very interesting. Hi, sweet girl. Hi, my sweet baby. All right, we are going to go have breakfast because we need it. And I will see you all later. Wish sleep upon me for this evening. My Marie mug, you know what? I think it's in the dishwasher. Can I show it to you tomorrow when they're clean? I think because we're running the dishwasher right now, and I think the Marie mug's in there because Secret Husband used it yesterday. Yeah, I can show it to you tomorrow though. It's still running right now. I know he drank out of it yesterday. That's his favorite mug right now because he loves the shape of it. But it is very cute. It was from Shira. I don't know where she got it, now that I think of it. Yes, send good sleep vibes our way. Maybe we'll nap today. What do you think? Do you think we'll nap? Someone's napping right now. She had one little drip of milk and she's passed out again. How much do we want to bet that Oh, you did? Roxy, you really found it? Oh my God, email me. I will Venmo immediately. Anyway, she will probably be hungry again shortly. Yeah, but I'm gonna owe shipping and everything too, Roxy, so it's gonna be more than that. But I will totally Venmo the whole thing, shipping the whole shebang right away. So just message me, and I can even make a label, actually. If you tell me how much it weighs, I can make a label and email you the label even. Oh my gosh, you're gonna make her dreams come true. Maybe I'll send it right. Oh, we'll send it to the P.O. box, because the P.O. box is by my sister's house, so she can just go get it. Oh my gosh. Okay, you're a hero. She's gonna be so excited when she finds out. I will see you all later. Bye, guys.